And I'm like, this sounds like some good conversation. Okay. Oh, y'all. Oh, now y'all. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shalonda Haygood, and I am the founder of Sunshine in Darkness, which is a nonprofit organization geared towards helping the youth be successful in today's society. I originally started this nonprofit because I was a teen mom, and so I wanted to help other teen mothers. But as my son and myself kind of grew together, literally, because I was 14 when I had him, I realized that there was some things that he didn't have that he needed as a teenager, and so I started to incorporate it and made it for the youth. So today's event is our Job Preparedness Workshop, which we hope to do more than one time a year, but it's really geared towards helping our youth with resume help, mock interviews, and preparing them for the work society before they enter into that work environment, because it's ever changing. And so I have some wonderful volunteers here today. Most of them are business owners. They've been in management positions. Some work for the government. Some have been in military. So we have a lot of people here that can help you and answer your questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out the way. But I have Monica Montgomery coming up, and she's actually the owner of MCM Editing. And so she's gonna talk about what to do, what not to do, what to wear and what not to wear. And then you guys will be able to ask questions. Once that is done, we do have lunch and everything on the other side. You'll be able to do your mock interviews and get your resume help. Does anybody have any questions for me? No? All right, good. All right, well, Monica, come on up. You guys give Monica a hand.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon. So we're going to go over what you need to do for your interview and for your resume, because it's 2023 and it's a new year. So we look at new jobs. We want to get into careers that we actually deserve and not the ones that just give us what half the pay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And before you apply, so okay, you've got to look at the type of position that you want and the company that you want to work for. So just look at, okay, what are my skills? Do I have a lot of data analysis skills? Do I have a lot of administrative skills? And then locate the position that you actually want. Now, if there's a certain company that you want to work for, okay, make sure you take a little bit of their history, take a little bit of their facts, and just see what they're working towards. Like, what are their goals? What are their mission? What are they looking for? Because that is important when you're doing your resume and when you're doing your cover letter. They want to see that you're investing in them and not just putting in a lot of applications over town. Even though that's what we're doing, we just apply everywhere until we get somewhere. But at least make it seem like you want to work with them towards their goal that they have for you. And when you're creating your resume, make sure your skills match with what they're looking for. So if they're looking for someone to do, let's see, analysis, doing research, but you put a skill in there that's just like, oh, I'm a people person. That's not gonna match, that's not gonna correlate. So at least match your skills to what you're looking for. And the reason why that's so important is because now companies use a scanning database. So they scan the resumes first, and they look for certain keywords. If the keywords are not on there, it's not gonna pull the resume. If it doesn't pull the resume, it doesn't get to the recruiter. So the goal is to get your resume in front of someone, in someone's hands, so you actually get the interview. So make sure you match those keywords, your skills, to what they're actually looking for. So yeah, that does mean take time, look at the job description, see what it all entails, and see what you'll be doing as well, because you want your expectations to match theirs. We don't want to go on a job blind. And like I said, yeah, also review your job description on there. That is a huge plus, because you do want to get paid for what you're qualified for. You don't want to be paid subpar, substandard. We're not doing that this year. We're not doing that in 2023. So say you've done your resume and you get the interview. So what do you need to do for the interview? Okay, first, just make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're relaxed. If you go in there nervous, they're gonna know that you're nervous, because you're talking to people you've never met and you're trying to convince them, hire me today. And that's not an easy task for everybody. Everybody's not outgoing, a people person. You got introverted, extroverted, but just go in there and be yourself and be comfortable. And also make sure you are prepared for the interview. So there are times when in an interview, they're gonna ask you, tell me about a time when. Usually it's tell me about a time when you resolved the conflict. When did you do the best thing for a customer? What did you do for the company? How did you improve your weaknesses, if you have any? They're gonna ask you those kind of stories and those kind of questions, and they want you to answer it like in a story. They want to take you from the beginning, the middle, to the end. So they want as many details as possible. The more details, the better picture they get of you, and the more likely you get hired too. That's the goal. You're going into the interview, I don't want to say you're selling yourself, but basically that's what you're convincing them that they need you. You're an asset to their company. Dress for the position that you want. If it is a corporate position, go ahead, put on a suit. Go ahead, put on a jacket and some slacks, put on a nice blouse, put your nice shoes on. If it's construction, you may not have to put on a three-piece suit for all that. Go in for the position that you want, because then they know that you're taking it serious. You're not just doing the interview so you can say, oh, I was looking for jobs, so you still get your unemployment. They want you to know that, okay, we're serious about hiring you and you're serious about working with us. Dress for the part and then come on time. On time doesn't mean like right when it starts. So if your interview is at 2 o'clock, don't get there at 2 o'clock. Don't have them waiting on you. Now, you waiting on them, that's fine. It can get irritating too. Because say you get there, your interview's at 2 o'clock, you get there at 1:50. And they make you wait until 2:10. Yeah, that's frustrating, but you would rather you wait on them than the other way around. And if possible, don't be on your phone while you're waiting too, because they sort of use that as a personality trait. They check in and look at you and say, what are you doing while you're waiting? Are you tapping your phone? Are you tapping your foot? Are you looking at your watch saying what's taking so long? Are you on your phone? Then they know, okay, you're not serious. You're just here. But while you're waiting, take a look at the work environment. See how things are flowing. Are people getting along? How are they greeting customers if there's a place that receives customers? How are they working on projects during the day? Just while you wait, just say, okay, I like how it's working here. Or, no, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. Also, be prepared to answer questions. They may come up with questions that they have just for their industry or for their company that you didn't have a chance to prep for. But just keep in mind, they're gonna ask you personality questions, they're gonna ask you conflict resolution, and how well you work within the team. So, I know you can't prepare too much for the unexpected, but at least give you yourself some room to do some research. You don't wanna be surprised. Now, during the interview, like I said, be comfortable, but be confident in what you're saying too. Don't say your qualities or your strengths sort of low key. If you're gonna say it, say it. That's the time you need to toot your own horn. That's the time you need to brag about yourself. That's the only time you're gonna be able to brag about yourself in an interview or a promotion. So go ahead and tell them what you're good at, what you work well at. And of course, I'm gonna ask about your weaknesses. Well, what do you struggle with? And it's fine to tell them, it's fine. But while you tell them what a weakness is, tell them how you're resolving that too. So say for me, like my weakness is I don't show when I'm under stress. Which is to them is good. It's like, oh, we don't know if she's stressed. But I do have tactics, I do have strategies I use to relieve that stress so I can do my job well. Just because I don't show you that I'm stressed, when my work comes out, it's gonna be trash. And I can't give out trash work. So it's like that. If you have a weakness, it's okay to say it. Just show how you're overcoming that. Listen to the questions. They're gonna ask you a ton of questions. Back to back to back. They may ask you 2-3 questions at one time. Listen to them and answer it clearly. It's okay if you have to say to them, what was that question again? Can you repeat that? That's okay. That's okay. And they're not gonna immediately say, oh, you weren't listening. They know what they did. They know they gave you like a 4-question combo. But if you're able to clearly answer them and give them detailed information, then that works in your favor as well. So just keep in mind what they're asking you as well. Now you can ask them questions. You can ask them questions as far as, how do you value your clients? How do you value your employees? Right now, that is huge. A lot of corporations are losing their employees. They can't retain them, it's a lot of turnover, because they don't value them, they don't take care of them. And even though they don't care about the bottom line, if you don't have people working in your company, it's not gonna succeed. So right now, that is a valid question. Don't be scared to ask it. And if they don't have an answer for you, then you might not wanna work there. But yeah, make sure you ask them how you value your employees. Do you promote from within? Do you educate them on the next talent management that they have or their career path? Like, how are you cultivating your employees to get to the next level? And what are your expectations of me? Don't just say, what do you want this person to do in this position? No, what are your expectations of me in this position? Go ahead and own it. Just go ahead and own it, take it. And then they know, okay, this person's serious. They asking us questions. If all else fails, at least ask one question, because they give you that opportunity. And if you don't ask them, it's not a end-all situation, but you at least want to know what their management style is like, what their operation, what their workflow is like. So when they open that door for you, take it, walk through it. Because then trying to follow with them afterwards can be a little cumbersome, can be hard. Now, again, after the interview, hurry up and wait. Just hurry up and wait. You are not gonna hear anything that day. The next day, it may be a couple of weeks, and that's fine, because they gotta go through all of the interviews. Legally, they have to interview everybody. Even if they chose you, they have to interview everybody and tell everybody no, and then they tell you yes. So just wait. Now, if it's been 2 weeks and you haven't heard anything, hey, I just want to reach out. Thank you for the opportunity for the interview. I just want to see if you all have any follow-up questions for me. Feel free to reach me at blah, 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 blah. It's okay to follow up with them. Sometimes people go on vacation. Sometimes they get busy and they don't get a chance to follow back up with you. It's okay to email or call, just don't do it excessively. Don't keep calling every day. Cause then I'm like, no, you too high maintenance. You require too much work. We don't go with somebody else. Don't cut yourself out of a job just trying to follow up with them. And if you can, you may not have direct contact with the management team that interviewed you, but at least get in contact with the recruiter that you have. They may have more access to you than anybody else. Here are some things to avoid. First, again, like I said, you want to dress for the position that you want. So don't come wrinkled, don't come mismatched, don't come too loud, like too loud of perfume, too much jewelry or anything. Don't have your hair all purple, green, and stuff. Now, there are, say, like you're going for a production company, or if you're going for a tech job, you can have tattoos in your hair, different colors and stuff. That's fine, that's acceptable now. So, that's okay, but like for an attorney, nah, just keep it conservative. Know the industry that you're applying for and interviewing for. Like I said, don't come late, come on time. Just show up on time. And don't be on your phone. I know there are times when you gotta be on your phone, emergencies and what have you, but don't just be sitting there scrolling from the time you get there to the time you leave. Be interested in the company and the people that you're interviewing with, and be interesting. So don't just, be all on your phone, because then they can't get in your personality, they can't really know who you are. Just take that 30 minutes, hour, and just staff your phone a little bit. Like I said, come prepared, know the company name. There's been many times I've sat in interviews and they don't know the company they're interviewing for, the name of the recruiter. They don't even know what the company does. Know what they do. Just know what they do. If you're going towards a propane company, know that they sell propane. If they're doing a service, know they're doing a service. Just the basics. Just take 30 seconds and Google it and it'll be fine. Like I said, don't be afraid to talk about your weaknesses. It can actually be a strength that they can help you get over. They may have resources, or they may have someone on your team, or they may partner with, like, accountability partner they'll put you with, and they'll be able to help you with any weaknesses that you have. So it's not terrible, but at least assess it. If you go in there and say, oh, I don't have any weaknesses, do you know who you are?
Right.
Do you know who you are?
Right.
Go look in the mirror. Go find out who you are, and then come back. These are things that you should do. Yes, come pressed. I just like to say pressed, iron, put together. You know, some people may say, "Oh, y'all are so well put together."
Yes.
Y'all know who they are. It's not a compliment, but y'all know who they are. Be yourself. Don't try to go in there being somebody else. They're gonna tell. And even if they don't tell, you can only fake it for like 3 months. You can only fake for so long. Just go in there and be yourself. Just be comfortable and be confident. Say it with your chest. Get it all out. And make sure if you have to write down your examples, write them down. You can go in there with a folder, with a portfolio, stuff like that. If you want to give them any results, any past data or performance that you've had, take it in there with them. So then they have something in hand, in black and white, saying, oh, you did this for real. You're not just telling us a story in the interview. Yeah, tell how your skills would benefit the company directly. So if you have soft skills, like customer service, answering the phone, communication, interpersonal relationship, that's good as well. But you want those hardcore skills that they're actually looking for. I can pull up data for you, I can do the marketing for you, I can make those connections, get you more sponsorships, get partnerships out here. I can do business development for you. Just match it to what they need for the company. And not just for that day, but look at their long-term goals. That's what they really focus on. Like, how are you gonna help us be more profitable and get to the next step? If you can't help us be more productive, why do we need you? Like I said, ask questions. Ask questions. Just ask questions. Plain and simple. And be positive. I know in an interview, it may seem like you're being interrogated and you're focused on negative, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, well, they're writing something down. What are they writing down? What does that mean? They're not looking at me in the eyes. Oh, they're shifting their body and stuff. Oh, they took a drink of water. Focus on the positive. If you keep focusing on the negative, then you're gonna put out negative energy during the interview. Just focus on what went well. And if you want to change anything, you've got time to change it, because let me tell you, looking for a job is a job. So you're not gonna have just one interview. Do an assessment and then go to the next interview and be better. It's not bad. And yeah, some key takeaways. It's stressful applying to jobs, because even though it's 11 jobs out there, they only do like 5 interviews. And you get frustrated because you're like, I'm interviewing, but I'm not getting hired. That's okay, you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. And there are times where 2-3 weeks might pass, a month may pass, and they come back around and be like, yeah, we interviewed you back in September. Can we get you in for a second one or a third? And just keep going. Be consistent with your applications as well. Like I said, learn something new after each interview. They're gonna have their own set of questions. So if they pop out a new question, if you want, write it down during the interview, or try to remember it right down afterwards. Because they may not be the first ones to ask you that. It may come back around. And plus, if it's a new question, that's something you can work on too. Put a story behind that, put an example behind that. So you can always learn. And if it's not even an interview process, look at how the layout of the workplace is. Like, how are they functioning? How are they being productive, or how are they not being productive? Are the employees there just talking around chit-chatting, or are they on their own little cubicles? How's the work life there? And see what benefits they have too. These are good benefits. Keep your resumes current. If you have a new certification, put it on there. If you finish like a continuing education class, put it on there. If you've got volunteer hours with like Habitat for Humanity, put it on there. Because that may be a connecting factor to the management team, to the company, or they may see you as a community liaison. So you can build more partnerships for them to be more involved and listen to what people need in the community. So just make sure you keep it current. If you have any changes within a year, put that on there. If you're getting new skills, put it on there. Because you don't want to submit a resume that's like 5 years old. They're gonna be like, what's new? What's been going on? Have you been productive? And I believe that's it. Did you all have any questions for me?
Can you talk about the virtual interview process? Because I know a lot of times now we're not meeting face to face. It's a phone call or a Zoom meeting or get dressed from the waist up so you can be presentable, one of those type of calls. And I know they're pretty much the same, but you don't get the personal feeling. So what are the differences with the Zoom?
So I would say with the virtual ones, like over the phone or Zoom, it's hard to connect with someone. So you have to be a little more upbeat, a little more bubbly. And I know that's not the regular for some people. Some people can just be bubbly all the time. But when you're over the phone, you really have to talk your personality through the phone. So if you have to smile throughout the whole interview, smile throughout the whole interview. If you have to think positive thoughts, or if you have to just focus on them or focus something on their background, then do that. But make sure your personality is strong, because they want to feel some sort of connection. So say if they got like a baseball team in background. Oh yeah, hey, I'm a fan of blah, blah, blah. When's the last time you went to a game? Something like that. Just like talk, just to build that connection with them. And I know there's a lot of jobs that are work from home, so you may never have to see them in person, but just make sure there's nothing in your background. There's nothing, really it's best to have a wall behind you that no one can walk behind you or anything. No interruption, make sure you have good connection. Make sure you're not in the car.
Yes.
People have done interviews in the car. No, don't sit down. Stop. Just stop and just give them your undivided attention. But yeah, you just have to be a little bubbly. Because I know over the phone, I sound dry. Because I'm just talking on the phone. But I have to, hey, it's sunny outside. Put some inflection in your voice. That's all. They just want to know that you're present.
So as you see on a lot of things posted online for jobs, it doesn't discuss money sometimes. It says to be discussed, or it's blank. Is it inappropriate to ask about money during the interview process, what you'll be making, or raises, or anything of that nature? Is it inappropriate to talk about it during the interview?
Nope. First, I want to say they have to disclose it, but they have to disclose it. And no, it's not bad, because you can negotiate your pay. I know in the state of Alabama, you can negotiate it, especially if you left one company to interview another company in the same industry. Negotiate it, because they're going to lowball you anyway. They're going to give you the minimum. They can say, hey, we'll give you this. You'll be like, well, I've got 5 years experience of this, and I led a team doing that. Negotiate your pay. So if you want to talk about an interview, what is the pay rate on this job? Does that include any bonuses or commission? You can ask that, because they got to be upfront with you on that. So they're going to put a minimum, average, and a max. I want to say go for the max.
Like they'll tell you something.
Yeah. Go for the max, and if they say no, you at least get the minimum. Just negotiate, because men do it,
Mm-hmm.
Like
do.
men do it and they get it.
Yes.
Women, we only earn 50 cents per dollar. And it's because we don't negotiate. Say it with your chest, ask them. What y'all paying? I mean, don't ask them like that.
I got two questions. My first question was, as far as like, I know with, sometimes how we research the company before we go and work. It's good for us to kind of know what the company is about, like you stated, to know, different various facts about the company, so that they feel that, we really have done our homework, we're really interested, and it's something that we really wanna do. But on the flip side now, because of this is the age of social media, it's like a role reversal kind of thing. It's like a twofold thing. So companies are doing the same thing, with the people that they may potentially hire. So can you talk a little bit about like the importance of your social media when you're trying to get certain jobs, your presence, your online presence, how you showing up, because as much as you're doing research now, they can turn around, it's not just the background check. They can check profiles, they can check, different things that you have to kind of see if you're a good fit. So they're kind of interviewing you before they interview you. So kind of how important would you say, or does it depend on the job?
It's very important, because you're right, they are doing like a judgment call before you get the interview, and they'll ask you 2 questions to be like, well, what you gonna say, because we've already done the research on your social media, so you're gonna say the same thing. It's important because they're gonna look at not only your images online, like what you're wearing, how you portray yourself, but what you say. And that's what you're saying in your status and in the comments to other people. So they go through and they look at that, so just be mindful of what you're saying online on social media. They mainly check like Facebook. So I've seen them sometimes check Instagram, but really they look at Facebook.
Okay.
Because they wanna see what you're commenting on, what you're saying, and what you support. And if it goes against their company's values or their mission, then by the time you get to the interview, they're like, if they give you an interview, they're like,
Yeah.
So it is important, especially for corporate jobs, big corporations. Now, if you're working with like a small business owner, it may not be that big of a deal. It may not be that big. If you're working like as an actress, you're taking on an acting job, entertainment job, something like that, it may not be that big of a deal. Because entertainment, they have to have various cultural perspectives, so they have to be open to things. Whereas corporate jobs, they can be more conservative, and they can make a judgment call based on what you say. So, just depending on the industry that you're in.
Okay, my second question was, okay, so now we've been through what they would consider the great, the great resignation, right? So where it's like, we have about 47 million people that have exited their jobs due to, economic crisis, pandemic, and all the different things. So these are a lot of great points, but with that, a lot of people decided to launch their own businesses, become entrepreneurs, try to get partnerships with already, good standing companies, large corporations, So like all these things that you listed, would that still be, to the person that has taken this alternate route? Like if I'm in that, a part of that great resignation, these things that we've discussed, it's not traditional, because now I'm not going to, in a job interview in that way, but I still want partnerships, I still want, maybe brand deals, I still wanna do all the things. So how important is it, to kind of show up, and can I still utilize some of this that you talked about?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you from experience. I was part of the Great Resignation last March. I left, and I recently had to hire somebody. I hired an assistant, so I went through the whole I went through my own version of the interview process. Really, I didn't care about how much education she had, but how much the experience you have. Can you do this? I just need to know, can you do it?
Right.
Because I don't micromanage, I don't wanna babysit you.
Right.
So when it came to looking at resumes, I looked at the skills and experience that you have, but not so much as your education. But I did look to see if they have any volunteer hours, cause I'm big on community involvement. So I focused on what was best for moving my company forward. So entrepreneurs they can set their own framework for the person they wanna hire, and they don't have to go by somebody else's or corporate framework. So you can set your own, just make sure it aligns with how you wanna push your business forward and how you want your business portrayed. Because if you have someone that you're looking to hire or have hired, and they're on social media shooting everybody up, and they're connected to your business, that's a reflection of you. That affects your branding and your marketing. So if that's gonna be an important factor for you, then yeah, take a look at your social media. And people have more than one social media platform. So I would say look at Instagram. When you hire someone younger, they're not so much on Facebook, they're on Instagram and TikTok and
Yeah.
Twitter is a big one too.
yeah, and Twitter, they quick to tweet.
Yep.
But just look at how they're portraying themselves, and if you don't want that to reflect your company, then do that. But yeah, you can still, take a look at their skills and experience. You don't have to necessarily rely on their education or how strict the interview is. So you can tailor your interview questions to be more of a if-then scenario. Give me an if-then scenario, or give me where you actually resolve a problem and you didn't put it on somebody else.
Okay.
So you can tailor your questions that way. And then if you wanna give them a small, entrepreneurs, we have a hard time hiring someone in our business because it's our business.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to mess it up. I've worked hard. If you're gonna do that, I'm just doing it myself. So just make sure that you trust them with the small tasks. Give them something small. And if they do well with that, take to the next level. If they do well with that, take to the next level. But just build that trusting factor in them, and they can trust you as well. Just give them something small tasks, and if they can do it, take it on. Any other questions?
I have a question. Being that there are different types of, like you said, there's some jobs that are, I'll say, for lack of a term, blue collar, which are 9 to 5 jobs, then there are corporate jobs. In your experience of what you've been exposed to as far, you kind of answered my question because you was talking about application versus, theory. One says, I have a lot of academic knowledge, but I've never applied it. I've never done anything. So in your experience as a hirer, would you be more apt to hire the person who knows a lot or the person who has done a lot?
So in the past with hiring, during like interviews and reviewing applications, the education is a checkbox. We're just subjective. We're doing subjective and objective reasoning. If you've got the education, you check that box off. Because that's factual, we have to stay within the integrity of the framework for the company. But if you have the experience, they're gonna take an experience because they don't wanna have to babysit you. They wanna give you 2 weeks to give you training on the company's outline, not the job. We're just training you on how we do A, B, C, D, but we don't wanna train you on how to do each and every task to get to the goal. So they're just checking it off. It's just okay, you got the degree. And then they filter it out that way. So then when it comes down to comparing bachelor's to master's, then they can filter the applications down more that way. For example, there have been times for one position, we had 144 applications. We're not looking at all that, and we're not looking at all those resumes either. First, we're gonna look at who is checking all the boxes off. Education, experience, skills. Okay, filter that down to 50? And then out of that 50, okay, who's got a master's, who just has a bachelor? They're not down to like 10. And then those are the people we look at interviewing. So it's a checkbox. We're not going through 100. I didn't go through 144 applications. I just looked at do you have A, B, C, or D?
Mhm.
You over here, you don't have it? Wow.
You have to cycle through thousands of
Yeah.
applications.
Yeah.
It's,
It's too much,
Headache.
especially for one position.
mhm.
So does it check the box, get you to, you know, to that smaller pool to look from then? You know, it gets you to that smaller pool.
Now, if you don't have the degree, would you know somebody?
You get over in another.
No.
Right.
That's an extra.
Somebody told me.
Yes.
You was missing.
Right, now, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, so your application going in my pocket.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll actually offer you before we put it in public.
Yes, yes,
So with
we
the
put a public
people-
so you can apply.
Right.
So the people that are like, you know, let's say they got a degree, but like, so the things like the certifications, the continuing education, like, you know, things
Mhm.
like that, how does that, you know, add up against people that are, let's say you got, cause some people don't wanna pay
Correct.
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like if I got a master's degree, but I want to specifically go in and hone in on this thing specifically, you know, to get some expertise. I don't wanna pay another $50,000 to, you know, go get a doctorate,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to get like certification or some continuing education. But I have like 15 years worth of, you know, experience in my field of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
How does that kind of balance out against the person that may have a doctorate degree, you know what I'm saying? Since,
So then that goes back to either your cover letter or showing that kind of proof of experience in the interview. If you have a portfolio that says, my 15 years of experience was able to push this company to the next level, I was able to increase their profits by 30%, I was able to retain employees for additional 2 to 5 years because of talent management, that's what you need to go in your interview with. Because you have the 15 years of experience, they see that detailed on your resume, you probably expound on it in your cover letter. Okay, but tell me, what did you do with that? Because in 15 years, if all you did was complete a task and move on to the next, that's not substantial, that's not enough for me. But if you created a project, moved the business forward, gave us some more money, and gave us some more clientele, some more customers, okay, that looks good. Because that can outweigh someone who's got a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate, they've been in school all this time. You ain't got 15
right.
You want
Right.
this job because you got loans to pay.
Right.
I think somebody that wants this job because they're gonna push it forward. So if you have that kind of data, take that in the interview. That can be a game changer. Yeah. Take a life in it.
So one question, and I think I run into this where I currently work. They hire a lot of interns, which is a good thing, but also can be kind of iffy on the back end as well, because when you got somebody that's been doing something, we know it, you know, then we have to stop and train, or you got the interns that come in and they can do it. So we run into a lot of, like you said, have the education, so check that box, but not the experience because we've been in school. But how does that differ from those people? Like, I could have 5 years experience in this field, but I don't have this necessary degree. But this person over here has absolutely no experience in this field whatsoever, but just got the degree. Where's the waiver? Because I see a lot of us getting hired in absolutely no experience. The job training is extensive, everything is extensive because they have absolutely nothing. But somebody that's working on a degree or doesn't currently have it cannot get in that door at all. But we have this experience on the back end, but it's almost like it's that gray area of just, I guess, not checking the box. So I see a lot of times where the experience does matter, but they kind of waver in the side of education.
And a lot of older companies, they do that. Companies that have been in tax since 1961, since
Government.
1958, they want that education piece
Okay.
because they want to know that you know.
You're just trainable, that you,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, the chain.
okay.
Now, being coachable is good, but if what they're doing is they're hiring what they're weak at.
Okay.
So if they have a weakness in this, a lot of times your management team don't have doctorates, but they know how to operate a business, so they're gonna hire that person to come in and correct their weakness and make it stronger.
Okay.
So sometimes they're doing that. I see that with older companies, but not so much with newer ones, and they're just trying to
Fill in. Okay.
fill in the gaps, fill in the areas, and get somebody that can train.
Okay.
Because
That's really.
even though you've been working there,
Mm-hmm.
you've been working for so long, they can't train you from fresh.
Right. Gotcha.
Cause you've been working under their microscope, but you already got your leader skills.
Mm-hmm.
You like, I'm trying to get to this, I'm trying to
Right.
do that. So they can't coach you in that position. But somebody brand new, tell me what you want, tell me.
Sponge.
I'll do everything that you need,
Mm-hmm.
they take it,
Okay.
yeah. So, and that's why they do it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't take offense to it.
So are they more likely to hire someone if they don't have a degree, but they've had like certifications and specialized training courses at like a previous employer, opposed to somebody who has a degree and very little hands-on experience?
Now that one's tough, because there have been times when, people have had certifications and they still went with someone who has a degree.
Yeah.
Because depending on the hours you put in for the certification, if you put in like 60 hours, I'm certified, to them that may not be substantial enough. It might not be enough experience that they're looking for. Now, if you've taken a year and a half, 2 years, then they'll consider that. But you make sure that when you're talking about your certifications, you're saying how you're applying it, not just, oh, I got it,
Yeah.
but how you're actually applying it. But yeah, that was tough, cause they look at certification sometimes like, oh, okay, you spent 60 hours doing that, whereas someone has like 2 years of doing something. Yeah.
That's my job.
That's more of showing your credibility.
My last question, like, as far as these degrees and certifications, where you get them from, do they look at that?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Cause I mean, because, and like somebody went to, Georgia State and got a certification in something, but then somebody went to Harvard and got a certification in something, okay, I'm gonna take the Harvard person because of their reputation of the school.
They look at that.
I just wonder, like, do they look at this?
If
I
I
see that.
say I got a certification from, no, let me not say that.
Little Romeo in the commercial.
I'm stopping the video, y'all.